Johnson. He's down to the goal line. He's over.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. Just want to go over the state of the New York Giants quarterback situation. I'm going to start going over all the team, running back situation, offensive line, wide receivers, and I'll go over to the defensive side. But I want to start off with the quarterback situation. Pretty much right now we have 4 guys on the roster. We have, obviously, Daniel Jones. This offseason we signed Mike Glennon.
Hey, second. Excuse me, guys. We got some shit to take care of right now, man. Glennon, love you, man. We needed a quarterback on the team who had a lot of neck. We got a good guy.
Yes, that Mike Glennon. We also have on 2 guys in the reserves, future contracts. One is Joe Webb, and the other one is Clayton Thorson. Pretty much, we got Daniel Jones and we got Mike Glennon. I don't know if we're going to be dressing either one of those other guys, or they're just going to stay in the on that futures reserve contract. If we're going to dress one of them, obviously one of those guys will be a third. It'll be the third choice. But Clayton Thorson, he's pretty much been in the NFC East his whole time. In 2019, he was drafted in the 5th round by the Eagles. It was like pretty much like before the season started. The Cowboys scoffed him up. After 2019 and 2020, the Cowboys let him go. We scoffed him up. Now he has a dubious distinction here that he has. He's at a Northwestern. I mean, he had a nice career at Northwestern, nothing super spectacular. But he played all 4 years. 2015, he started in all 13 games as a freshman. 2016, as a sophomore, he started all 13 games. 2017, he started all 13 games. 2018, Northwestern played 14 games. He played all of those. So every game that he could have played in his college career, 53 of them he played in. He played in and started 53 consecutive games for Northwestern. Now that's a record. It's all with the Power 5 conferences in college. That's a record. 53 consecutive starts. There's only one other guy that's tied that. There's one other guy at a Power 5 conference in college football, in the history of college football, that's started 53 consecutive games at quarterback. You know who that guy is? Colt McCoy. And needless to say, we had both the guys on our roster last year. But, I don't see us ever needing Clayton Thorson. I don't know if we can possibly develop him. I said his numbers weren't like off the charts. That leads me to Joe Webb. He's been around since 2010. He was drafted by the Vikings. Then he went to Carolina. He spent a year with Buffalo. He spent a year with Houston. Then he missed the 2019 season because he had a foot injury. The Giants picked him up in 2020. He dressed for 2 games for us. I think he got in on some special teams, though, if I'm not mistaken. But the 2 games he might have dressed might have been the 2 games that Daniel Jones missed because of his injury. But since 2010, Joe Webb has thrown 159 passes, completed 90 of them for 888 yards. He's thrown 3 touchdowns and thrown 6 interceptions. So since 2010, Joe Webb has thrown 3 touchdown passes. And we have him on a reserve future contract as well. But, I mean, that's just all him and Clayton Thorson are at this point in time, just warm bodies. That's all they are. If we have to put those guys in the game, Houston, we got a problem. Which leads me to Mike Glennon. One thing common, all the quarterbacks we got, they're tall. Webb and Thorson are 6'4". Daniel Jones is 6'5". Mike Glennon 6'7". That's because I think his neck is like a foot tall. So if he took his neck, he'd only be like 5'7". But so he's tall. He's been around as well too. Mike Glennon, a lot of experience. Tampa Bay drafted him in 2014. He spent 3 years with Tampa Bay. Then he went to. Then he spent a year with Chicago, a year with Arizona, a year with Oakland. Then he spent a year with Jacksonville. Now he might spend a year with the Giants. So his first year with Tampa, he played pretty much. He was the main quarterback there, and since then he's been pretty much a backup. Now last year he did get in with for Jacksonville. He did play 5 games with Jacksonville. They didn't win any games that he played in, but I mean, he did decently in his his 5 starts with with Jacksonville last year. He had what was it? I think 7 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. He had 62% completion, but Jacksonville won 1 game. What do you expect? So I mean, admirably, but can he come in and do an admirable job like Colt McCoy did last year? Yeah, absolutely, sure. Are we going to win a Super Bowl with him? Probably not. But I mean, can he fill in for a couple games if Daniel Jones is hurt or something? Absolutely. And sure, if we rally like we did against Seattle last year with Colt McCoy, sure, we can win a football game here or there. Absolutely. Now that leads me to Daniel Jones. Now, basically, this is his year. He's got to step up. I mean, last year you got to look at it. Saquon was hurt. We had his first year with Jason Garrett's offense. Sterling Shepard. I mean, Sterling Shepard played the year before. He was hurled up. So I mean, last year, Daniel Jones. Sterling Shepard played. Golden Tate was kind of, hit or miss last year. Evan Ingram, he played. He wasn't hurt, but he dropped he made up for it by dropping a lot of passes. The offensive line was inconsistent. Sometimes we against Seattle, we had a good running game. And other times he was just against Arizona, he got sacked 8 times, 9 times, whatever it was. It was unbelievable. So with did have a young offensive line. Hernandez came out for a couple of games, and because he was sick, and then we had Lemieux in there who can't pass block. Andrew Thomas had a rough time, especially in the beginning of the season. Then we had the right tackle. We had Fleming, who had his bad moments as well too, and then you had Parrott, who's a rookie. So I mean, there were times there where we had 3 rookies out there. We had Thomas, Lemieux, and Parrott all out there at the same time. So hopefully with Rob Sale coming in, hopefully he can, get the offensive line going a little bit better. But this is a very, very important year for Daniel Jones. Hopefully we dress, because we got rid of our best offensive lineman. We got rid of Zeitler, so hopefully we address that in the draft, because that's going to be very important, because you can ask Patrick Mahomes, you can have all the weapons you want in the world, but if you don't have anybody blocking for you, even the Kansas City Chiefs can't score a touchdown like they did in the Super Bowl, right? 3 field goals. Pretty pathetic, and it's because their offensive line was hurting. So we got to have that offensive line. But second year under Jason Garrett's offense, he's down in Arizona right now, with guys throwing passes to him. working out. Now, there's the good and the bad. I mean, last year, his fumbles went down. He played 14 games last year. He had 11 fumbles, which is still not very good. But the year before that, he started 12 games. He had 18 fumbles. That's 1.5 fumbles every game. That's horrible. First year, he threw 12 interceptions. Okay. Last year, he only threw 10. So that's 10 interceptions, 14 games. So if he played 16 games, he would have had 11, 12 interceptions. That's not Hall of Fame material, don't get me wrong, but 11 or 12 for a full season. It's a passing league. With what he had to work with, 11 or 12 in the season, not too horrible. The horrible part is his touchdowns. Now, in 12 games in 2019, he threw for 24 touchdowns. Now that was also under a different coach, offensive system. Saquon Barkley was there. Golden Tate was a little bit more present. So we'll have to wait and see. But last year, he had 11 touchdowns. That's horrible, absolutely horrible. We know he can run. He averages over 6 yards every time he rushes the ball. So this is going to be a huge year. All the coaches that Judge has coming in, Garrett's going to need to step it up a little bit, come out of the 18th century with his offensive play calling. Now, granted, sometimes you look at it, he didn't have the greatest weapons to work with last year, so you got to give him a little slack here. But now, we got Saquon coming back, right? We got John Ross, all right? You got Golladay, Kyle Rudolph. So he's going to have some weapons. And if we can get an offensive line, help hold up, it's going to be a big year for Daniel Jones. He has to step up. Now, also, in his 12 starts in 2019, he was 3-9. Last year, in his 14 starts, he was 5-9. So he did get a little bit better. So does that mean a 7-9 record this year? If he played all 16 games, if he goes from 3-9 to 5-9 to 7-9, that's an improvement. But there still will certainly leave some questions need to be answered. 7-9. With the coaches we got coming in, the money that we spent, I think 7-9 would be looked at. It would be an improvement over 6-10, but 7-9, I think that'd still be a disappointing season. Then the interesting thing would be, because Daniel Jones is Dave Gettleman's guy. Now, if we have a failure, with Jones, does Gettleman get the axe? Interesting. If Gettleman gets the axe, now you got Daniel Jones. They're bringing in a new GM. Daniel Jones is not the new GM's guy, and Daniel Jones is not Joe Judge's guy. So what would they do with Daniel Jones? Very, very interesting. Try to give him another year. It's as the years go by, the NFL gets less and less patient. It's more of a win now. What have you done for me today? It's not like we'll bring him in, sit him on the bench for a couple years, then we'll put him out there, give him a couple years, whatever. No, we need results now. So if there's a new GM coming in, and they want to get a new quarterback, where are they going to look? Because if we wind up 7-9, drafting middle of the pack, number 15, it's going to take a whole lot of ammunition to get in the top 5 or whatever to get a quarterback. There's a couple of quarterbacks coming out next year. I don't know if it's going to be as rich as this year's, where there might be 5 in the top 10. But I said, if the Giants go, the Giants can be like the Patriots. Patriots might need a quarterback. They're drafting 15. They got to get some ammo to move up. Might be the same thing with the Giants. Giants might need a lot of ammo to move up if they want to draft a quarterback. Or if they don't, well, let's see. Who's going to be on the open market for them to take, huh? So it's going to be a very interesting year. It's a definitely very, very important year, obviously for the New York Giants, but obviously for Daniel Jones. And don't expect him to take a quarterback in the draft. We only got 6 picks. We got 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and 2 in the sixth. So don't expect. We got some holes. Don't expect him to take a quarterback because we got some holes we need to fill, and it's very important. We got to give Daniel Jones as much ammo and protection and all as we possibly can. And these 6 draft choices that we get this year are very, very important to the future of the Giants and to the future of Daniel Jones. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!